dances? Huh, Safi? Come on, say something. Do you want to participate? Good morning, everybody. Let's play some music. Safi's here. I'm going to make my coffee or tea, and I'll see you in a few minutes. I'm starting early today. Goodness, there are 5 of us here. How is everybody? Good morning, happy Caturday. Hi Lorna, hi Knitting Yogi, hi Barbie, hi Kylie. So let's see what you guys say. Let me just tilt the monitor a little bit toward me. I'm coughing a little bit, guys. My apologies. I think it's the allergy. We have dandelions everywhere. I think the city is not working. These people who are cutting grass, and we have massive cases of allergies everywhere. Did we do it at 10? No, we never did at 10. I might actually do it at 10 soon. I really have to tell you, I'm planning to move, and I'm actually planning to move to a different province by the end of the year. So it's not going to happen soon. Nothing is still to be announced. Real estate prices are through the roof, so I don't even know if I'll be able to afford what I want to. But it kind of like, you know, I put it in the universe, kind of like, this is what I want. A house with a little garden, and it's going to be most likely New Brunswick in Canada. It's a little bit north from here. Winters could be a little bit snowier, but overall it's probably a little bit easier life. So kind of like it's going to be really interesting. So let's see kind of like what else is going on over here. Okay, so hi White Devil, we haven't seen you before, so how are you doing? Please tell us a little bit about you and kind of like what sign you are, what you are doing. Hi Kelsey, Nice to see you here as well. And what else? Past midnight here. Yeah, I know. I'm just like, I mean, amazing. So I have put the new updates on the computer. I have restarted it just to make sure. I'm checking the health of the stream. It's saying excellent. They are recommending 2,500 and I have like 10,000. So it's 4 times than the recommended, which means it should be better. Well, we will see. So far, so good. So I'm going to jump in because it's going to, and guys, you're all welcome to visit. I'll have extra bedrooms, so if you guys want, my mods, you're kind of like welcome to come by and say hi. And so yeah, you know, it's kind of like really hard to be hospitable when you live in an apartment, and you know, like one room, like I have actually, I'm really lucky in Toronto. I'm not paying much in rent because that's advantage if you stay in the same place, but nonetheless, you know, things accumulate and there's like not much room for visitors. So what we are going to do today, we are going to start with Gemini. Oh my gosh, I still have this Taurus thing over there. Let me, oh, I don't know if I can remove it halfway. Is this going to even let me? Let me see. Let me see if it's going to let me, because I think this is how I messed up the last time and it just didn't record it from there, but maybe I did something different. So let me just check for a second the slideshow, because Taurus, guys, you had your birthday, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to just try to delete this one and see if it's still going to circulate this. So now it should just have this second one. We'll see if that's also going to happen, or did I really mess it up right now? No, okay, so it's going to be one. And hopefully, I'm actually recording this, guys, also. I don't know, have you noticed that like the last few times we had a massive issues. It didn't record, it didn't upload everything, and I just decided not to mess with this. So Knitting Yogi, you have allergies. It's just like I'm starting to cough, just like it was like bad before. You would not believe, like they're like fields covered with dandelions. Even Tiger is coughing, he has allergies. So the concept is going to be, we are starting with Gemini because it's their birthday, and also it's going to be Cancer birthday like at the end of the month. So I'm going to start with these two signs. Yay! Oh my gosh, you're going to be so, you removed the border restriction for Canada. Do you know what's the problem for me? It's buying something there, because I cannot go and check the properties because they want 14 days isolation. I'm partially vaccinated and my second vaccine is going to be end of July, unless I manage to squeeze myself earlier. But we have travel restrictions between the provinces in Canada. Plus I will have to, if I drive to Quebec and staying there. So it's just a mess. So, okay, Safik, how about, and Kylie, you're welcome as well. I know Australia is not really around, but hey, at least you have somewhere to come. It's not Toronto. Toronto is fun. I really have to advise you guys, if you want to visit, kind of like come and travel to Toronto. But at my age, I am no longer a party girl anymore, so it kind of like makes sense, kind of like to have something calmer. And you, Knitting Yogi, would be in the neighborhood, I guess, right? I'll go to Moncton most likely, so not as close as Fredericton, but not that far either. So hopefully we're going to kind of like do this. So, all right, guys. Let's do Taurus. And where are my thingies? I thought I put it on the table. Did you, Safi, take this away? Where is it? I know I put it on the table. I'm just trying to find my little kind of like my little signs. I am losing it. I thought I had it on the table. So sorry, let me check. I have no idea where this is because this is in my visual memory. Oh, found it. It's right here on my desk next to me. I guess I was cleaning the table. So we're starting with Gemini. We are going to Cancer, and then we are going randomly. Right? So you see, I'm just really starting sort of on time. So Gemini, happy birthday. Let's see what we have for you. So I'm going to go rather quick with this because now I'm doing the update in the middle of the month. And the third one that we are doing is kind of like how the other parties feel about us, kind of like a little bit opposite. And the fourth one is usually a long weekend over the summer. So, and I don't know, I'm also considering just doing it twice a month, but we will see. I'll try to maintain 3 times a month if you guys want to do that. Yeah, so 6-hour drive, this is still a lot, but yeah, if you stay for a week or two, that's not going to be that bad, right? It's like 16-hour drive from Toronto over there, so it's like, ugh. So I'm brushing up on my French. I used to be fluent, basically fluent. When I say fluent, it's not like talking about philosophy. It's just kind of like getting by. So just trying to get there. Gemini, but you don't have to speak French, by the way. It's kind of like 35% French, so it's helpful. So you guys have the Hierophant reversed, which is not bad. Then you have the stars. Then you have the Four of Pentacles. Then you have the Four of Wands. Let me see, maybe I should squeeze it a little bit over here. I'm just going to put it all and I'm going to summarize, otherwise it's going to be forever. And then I don't think anybody has the patience. Hello, Chris. How is Mr. Chris? How is everything going? And then we have a Five of Swords over here. You have the High Priestess. It's kind of weird because in the morning I kind of like shuffled to see the energies for this reading, and I was getting High Priestess 3 times in a row. So what are the chances? Then we have like Three of Wands, and we have Death reversed. There is somebody suffering in your environment, guys. I'm just thinking, like, what's crossing my mind whenever I see something in a reading, I think of my friends or acquaintances who I know they're Gemini and kind of like see what is happening. They're like Six of Cups. This is also kind of like some sexy attitude over here. And then we have the King of Cups over here, guys. On the bottom of the deck, you have Nine of Pentacles. So let me see if I can make this a little bit more straight toward you. I might twisting it on the right side. I hope so. Just put it a little bit higher. I used to be really good with technology. I'm no longer great with technology, so please, and I'm not good with driving anymore. I used to be a great driver. Ever since I had these broken ribs, it's kind of hard. You should see my parking is just like something that I used to laugh at other people. Now I'm laughing at myself. At least I can do that, so kind of like I stay this much from the curve and stuff like that. All right, Gemini, it's going to be a really long reading, but there we go, finally. So what I see, the most I see are fours. So we have three kind of like four energies over here, and we have like 2-5 energies. So this is kind of like a middle of the road, like what I see here. In fact, I even see, and that's possibly Mercury retrograde. You guys are ruled with Mercury. I purposely didn't check all the astrology, so I'm just focusing on tarot. So what is basically happening, because you're going from 4 of Wands to 3 of Wands, there is going to be some kind of like a stepping back attitude or stepping back action. I mean, all of this, because fours are firm energy. Fours are forcing us to organize our house, to maybe buy a house, to kind of like check our investments, to see where you're leaking. Oh, I have all these subscriptions. Hello, Sally. Thanks, Chris. And maybe I don't need all these subscriptions. You're kind of like cleaning the house when you have fours. And it is your birthday. It's almost like you're treating this, from what I see here, as some kind of like a new beginning. Because look at this. You had 4 and 4 and 5 and 5 over here, right? So yeah, this is 8. So it's almost like showing and reflecting these 2 4s, right? But then you're going in 2 and 3. So this is like that step back that I'm just really talking about over here. And I really think over here, some of you might be moving out of, let's say, some union. This kind of like indicates, let me just find a better pen. It indicates to me that you're either, I guess, married, or you live with somebody, or you're just tired of some kind of like setup that you have, I would say. And a little bit kind of like with this 4 of Pentacles, kind of like have a selfish energy. You're holding it to yourself, I would say. You know, it's kind of like 4 of Pentacles to me, showing the person who is not very, let's say, collaborative, who is kind of like doing things the way they want to do it. So let me see if this pen is going to be better. So you are kind of like in a little bit, I need to look up the better mode. You're going to be accused this month that you're selfish, that you're just taking care of me. And you are going to not really take it too hard because you're going to check the source. You're going to be very intuitive. It almost tells me, do we have Geminis here, that you're leaving one partner and you're encountering a new one. And you're kind of like really happy where you are. Look, you also have the world just like right under it. So you're trying to find a financial footing, I would say, to how to work things out in the future. And things are somehow, the universe is collaborating with you. This tells me it's going to be some kind of like victory. Lorna, is it birthday? Happy birthday. Oh my gosh. So this is going to be kind of like you're saying it's my time. I don't care if maybe I won and you lost. Because generally Geminis are very balanced. Air signs are technically very balanced. Well, okay, let me take this back. We are not very balanced. I mean, we are trying to create this balance. We are trying to be fair. Right? That's trying. And whenever you're trying, it always goes like that, right? So not balanced, but we are trying to be there, right? So this is really telling me you are stepping back and you are trying to see where you want to go. You are taking those first steps. You're putting those seeds back. And you're kind of looking at somebody who is suffering. And maybe they're suffering as a result of your actions. We see it here. And this is a really, really difficult card to be with. These two cards that are both kind of like connecting with emotions, right, are kind of significant. And you have like also three majors over here, right? So you're kind of like breaking some contraption. Maybe the contraption was simply the system you build for yourself and you're like, phew, face slap, kind of like what was it thinking all this time? You're getting this King of Cups in the end, which tells me, and these two cards combine, you're following your intuition. You are looking for something true and real. It's kind of like give and take. With Six of Cups, and this is Mercury retrograde, maybe somebody from the past is reappearing. That also could mean this because it's in hopes and fears. And that somebody was somebody who you wanted to take the next step with because it's mirroring this card. But also somebody who caused you possibly suffering. And in the end, because they caused you suffering, you had to heal your wounds, then kind of like realize, I guess, they miss you and now they're suffering, but now you already have somebody else. This is the problem, guys. We air signs, we do suffer actually after the breakup, but we also rebound rather quickly. So that is also very important. So I just want to see this Death card, and I don't want to spend more than 10 minutes per sign. So Barbie, please snap your whip. This is a servant, and just like as I said, something is not serving you very well, and they can try as much as they want. You're kind of like insisting on this. Let me just get another one. You see how like this kitty cat is like in his own kind of like thing, not noticing really what is happening around. So let me just see another one for this one. And we have sorrow reversed. That's right. It's kind of like your past time to feel for somebody, and that usually happens either if you're a psychopath, and I'm not saying you are. I don't really see that from the cards because there is like this big hopefulness and there is intuitive part. Psychopaths are not intuitive. They don't have that ability. Great for us. Otherwise they'll be running the world because, oh my gosh, that will be just a freaking disaster. But if you kind of like are getting this means that somebody tried you too many times and you kind of like really had enough with this, and hence you decided to go solo. You decided to be self-reliant. You decided to kind of like trust your own intuition, trust your own resources, which means so some of you need to save. You need to kind of like really watch how much you can spread yourself, but nonetheless you're starting a new adventure, you're kind of going a new direction. And then if you guys looking for somebody is appearing. A King of Cups also means that somebody is understanding you emotionally, and that is a very important part, kind of like in anybody's life. So that cup is getting full. So Sally, hello, celebrating your son today. Oh my god, it's tomorrow. Well, of course Saturday is much easier to do it. Good for you. So We are doing June monthlies, and the next one is going to be Cancer. As I said, we are just going to go with these two first, and then we are going to go random. Can I do Cancer? Is that your ascendant? Really? Really? Yes. Yes. Tiger is with his fitness trainer, as I call her. So guys, you have home as a center of your environment. I wonder what happened to my ex-Cancer husband. The last I heard from him was, first he scared the hell out of me thinking that he is dying, and there's like 8 of Cups reversed, and then he just told me, oh no, it was like a tooth abscess, something he did operate. King of Cups, and we have 7 of Cups, and then we have Ace of Swords, which is like one of my karma cards. Then we have here 5 of Wands, 10 of Swords over here. Then we have the Magician. So how about Javi that we move this mighty tail? Oh, we have the Emperor. And we have Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so you guys also, you are kind of like coming, well, this is a little bit different than from what I've seen with Gemini, because I am seeing here, like, remember how I said Geminis had like this underlying tone of 4 kind of firming up? Like, there is nothing underlying here with you because it's right in your face. We have the Emperor, there is a 4. You're also looking and seeking stability, but I think you're a little bit more in the planning stage still, because look at these ones that you have. Like, this is like that beginning as well. You kind of like are trying to find a really firm ground. Like, this is your Mercury retrograde card. It's 8 of Cups. You see, when it's upright for you, it's reversed. When it's upright, somebody's leaving. Maybe somebody has left. Maybe you had issues with family. Maybe this is kind of like a thing connecting with your family. There is like a certain absence, and that somebody's coming back, or that could be you that kind of like have withdrawn and now you're ready to reemerge, because we see here 7. That was like kind of like, is this the best I can do? What else can I wish for? What kind of like wishes I'm placing to the universe? How do I really go about it, right? And then you went ahead and kind of like tried it. It looks like you did have support of your family, really kind of like not only financial but emotional support. Like, they're like 100% behind you. I wish I have family like that. And that shows like a victory, that whatever you plan to do or that you possibly started, usually the ones, and we have like 5 ones. Means that you are still not literally jumping in the swimming pool. This is still like you're going, oh, you're psyching yourself up that the water is going to be cold, that you're going to have the change of kind of like velocity and everything else, right? So this is kind of like where this is really heading. So with all of these ones, this one is the one that really stands up to me, and we are going to clarify it, is because this is telling me being somehow on the bottom. And it's really kind of like weird, because this is 10 and this is 10, so it's 1, but it's kind of like circular, kind of like it's a new phase. And then this one is pretty much like being on the top and everything is working with the family, and this one is being on the bottom, where maybe I should simply add the crossroads. Maybe that's all this means, because this here to me, it's really interesting card. This card really talks about setting up new rules and maybe new system, and maybe something that worked for you doesn't work anymore. Maybe simply you felt you didn't reinforce your boundaries. There's also the card that sometimes to me talks about shame, that you kind of like have some inherent shame, and at this stage you're saying, you know what, I just can't live my life like that anymore, and you either take me or you don't take me, and I just can't live my life proving myself to the others. And that new kind of like attitude, that new authenticity is really opening the completely new world for you, because you are just not having something that is eating away kind of like things about who you really are, right? So now with these 2 aces and with this Magician, you're going to have ability to attract people who will help you, who will firm you up. This kind of like new system and new attitude and how you're going to open the doors are going to just take you out of this funk. And I really think this is just a temporary funk. You just tripped over and everything is like really, really working out. So let me just check the this 10 of Swords over here. We didn't see the full moon, the lunar eclipse over here because it was 7 o'clock in the morning when it was over the horizon already. This is like about falseness and lies. Is this like you're afraid? Like because you guys are a sign that kind of like gets afraid, right? You kind of like wonder, like you have to protect yourself, right? And hence that's why you're very suspicious and how to kind of like move forward. But this is reversing, so indicates the end, just as this is kind of you're on the rock bottom. So not a good thing, but what is positive about that, hey, the only way to go, it's up, right? So this is kind of like the end of that period of falsehoods, or the truth is coming out, or the secrets are finally revealed, you're putting your foot down. So anything that was insincere, like, so that's what I said, it's shame or a gossip or slander or jealousy or even envy, like you are addressing this inside of you and on the out. Because whenever we kind of like pass judgment on the others, we are actually addressing shame in us, right? So we kind of like, this is like one of those, you pointing the finger at somebody, but like 3 or 4 are pointing back kind of a thing, right? So I don't know, like, I mean, you might kind of like deal with something that you had in the past, that you're like making a new resolution, you're not going to be betrayed again. Maybe it was infidelity of the partner that kind of like was addressed, or something at work that somebody kind of like backstabbed you or something. I really think this kind of like is relating to something that happened in May, and I would say beginning to middle of May, that something kind of like was happening and kind of like that maybe left you with kind of like this bitter taste in the mouth. But guys, you really have nothing to worry. From what I see, maybe you are coming back to something that you already started, and maybe you are kind of like reconciling with a partner, and you are clearly firming things up and kind of like going in a new direction. This is like programmed for success from what I see. So this is freaking amazing. So that is great. So now we are going to go with pulling things. I made them the last time. So happy Memorial Day, guys. We had a Victoria Day last weekend. It was just horrible. I don't like noise, so the world doesn't revolve around me, and Victoria Day here is known for big fireworks. And not anybody, no, everybody who has a house, but I live next to a huge park, just went out and they were banging this up. And you can just imagine when you have 2 cats and a dog, how that worked. It was just awful. And I don't know why this is allowed, but that's kind of like what it was. I don't know if Memorial Day is any kind of like different, but we'll see. So we have Libra coming next. So Barbie is Libra. Is there anybody else? Let me just put here. All right. I'm all behind. I need to kind of like get up and doing. So let's see, Libra. Oh, did I tell you we had 30 degrees 2 days ago? Yesterday we had snow. So from 30 degrees to 0. So I don't know what this is. Like 30 degrees would be, I guess, 85. And 0 is 32. So just to show you how our temperatures kind of like played game on us. So we have like 2 of Wands reversed. We have 6 of Pentacles. We have the Magician. So there is your Mercury retrograde, guys. I have Queen of Pentacles reversed here. Ooh, we have the Devil reversed. Then, oh, look at these majors. We have Strength. Oh, this is good. 7 of Swords reversed. Like, it wouldn't be good if it was upright. Then we have the Emperor in your environment house. Then we have like 2 of Pentacles. And we have Queen of Cups. Why? And then on the bottom of, I forgot it, look for Cancer, we have Knight of Wands over here. So Libra, you have like some signs that are appearing over here. So clearly you have water signs and you have earth signs. That's kind of like showing up. But you also have somebody who has a very strong Mercury or Gemini in their chart. You have somebody who has very strong Aries in their chart, who has a Leo, or who has either a Capricorn or Cancer. So that tells me you're going to have like and also you have possible Sagittarius over here. So if you don't deal with any of these signs, then simply we are going to just go in the reading that it kind of like has this has different meaning, because that's where individual reading kicks in, where you know the sign of the person and you are interpreting it in slightly differently, right? So let's start with the center of this cross, right? The center is like Two of Wands reversed, which means, oh my God, I don't know what I am doing, and I am such a loser, and I will never succeed, and no, I cannot do that. I need to have some safety, blah, 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 right? This is telling it's a give and take. If you're not giving at least good attitude, if you're not giving like what is going to take, you're not going to receive it, because that's the ultimate card of that kind of like balance over here. And sixes are also relating to lovers, and lovers are relating to Mercury. So this Mercury retrograde, I think it's finishing June 22nd, and this is just the main one. And then we're going again back into the shadow, because it kind of like spins weirdly. It's going to really work well for you. So this is literally the main advice I would give unreservedly, because you might feel this month that you're like throwing things at the wall and nothing is sticking, because this is not necessarily like, communicative and gentle Libra. Even though this might be your mother, though, Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles could be somebody married. It could be a counselor. I think it's really connecting with you, because it's connecting to those like finer things in life, which kind of like is your sign is ruled by Venus, and that kind of like is shown over there as well. And this is really telling me that you're going to feel, it's kind of weird, how you feel and how you process it inside is not necessarily what is happening. And you're going to be, and that's Mercury, a retrograde is almost going to pull wool over your eyes, and you're going to really feel, oh my freaking God, I'm not getting ahead. And you're going to blame on the other people, you're going to blame it on you. But if you really look, what is really happening in reality is that this entire month and this Mercury retrograde for you guys is going to help you shake yourself off some codependent patterns. So if you have a partner who is coming in and out of your life as they please, they can be wonderful and they can be exciting. You're going to kind of like see if this really works for you. If the next day or the next week you feel like and sad, then you're going to say, maybe this evening of a great time is not worth 7 days of sadness, or even a day, or even an hour, right? And you're going to be making decisions, but it's going to be whole healing process this month. However, you're going to feel inside, I'm sorry to say, like almost like a loser, not realizing you are actually doing amazing and huge job. By the end of the month, you're going to fully realize that, because you're going to demand commitment from people. You are going to be very diplomatic. You're going to be really tired of this kind of like juggle. Where am I? Where do I stand? How do I stand? And whenever you kind of like feel that slippery kind of like environment, you'll be kind of like leaving this whole freaking thing, right? And this is really telling me that you kind of like really feel betrayed at some point, because this is arrival of the excess that usually happens during Mercury retrograde, or old job, old employer, old bills. It's kind of like, oh my God, just get away from me. So anything that we kind of like tucked away that we don't want to deal with, bill, taxes, as I said, like paperwork, law cases now might come back, because something you need to really deal with, something you really need to look at. You're going to have a great help. Like the Emperor is somebody who is very logical, and this is falling in your environment. You will turn to this person because you will feel, as I said, you're going to feel completely awkward that you are not doing well, and as a result, you're going to turn to somebody for help, which is really, really good, because this person is going to be able to really guide you through it and make you re-meet, if that can be even used as a word, yourself, your authentic self. You're going to have two possibly women around you who will be supporting you through it, or you might actually end up being this Queen of Cups. Maybe you're starting the month with, oh my God, I have to handle the house, I have to handle the kids, I have to put things in order, right? Kind of like how to deal with the budget, where do I find some kind of like money to treat myself, and then, oh my gosh, I'm spending too much money. And then this is coming to, oh my gosh, everything was worth it. And you're going finding that emotional equilibrium by the end of the month. So let me just see the seven of Swords, and it's showing a young woman, but she comes reversed. So young woman can actually really represent somebody new in your life, male or female, right? It can represent a daughter, kind of like a thing that maybe you feel that there's like disconnect of some sort because she's reversed. That means lack of maturity, or it can also mean somebody really small and significant. And that's, as I said, it's talking about all of these issues you're going to have the whole month. They're going to be forgettable, and it's not going to be really important, right? So, but if this is talking about a person, it could be somebody, again, very kind of like green, or maybe frail, or somebody who is very unreliable, kind of a thing. And maybe you kind of like felt this letdown, and you're turning to somebody else who can really, really kind of like firm things up and go back to the enthusiasm. And that's kind of like where I think it's going to be some kind of like turn around over here, right? So I don't know, like also if there is some kind of like schooling environment, guys, here, then this can actually represent kind of like dean or boss, or somebody who is really coming toward you and helping you. So this one going to come out. And it's interesting, like we have a friend here reversed. Maybe you're going to find out that somebody who you consider a friend was actually involved with somebody who was really important to you behind your back. I'm sorry to say, but like that's the first thing that came to my mind. Because the friend is clearly not a friend anymore, and this is kind of like connecting to the devil and codependency, which also talks about, oh my God, right? Like, I mean, how bad do you feel? And guys, if this makes you feel any better, my mom was flirting with my ex, so how bad that can get. So just maybe prepare yourself with this way, and I guess maybe this is it. Like, I mean, you're going to start questioning things and people around you, and you're going to juggle lots of things up and down the whole month. But this could be, and it could be male. It's 80% chance male. It's kind of like general reading after all, but it's somebody who has a very strong Aries, strong go-getter personality, maybe somebody who is self-employed. So that person is going to be very, very helpful. So let's see. All right, a sip of my tea. I'm having a tea today. Oh, I didn't put honey in there. Okay, I'll survive. Live and learn. That's how it is. You like this reading format? I'm glad, because you know what? I'm spending so much less time. I'm such a fussy person and perfectionist, and it took me forever to do this monthly, so this is better. I feel energy from you, and it's so much easier to channel. So the next one is going to Mr. and Mrs. Leos. Okay, let's put a timestamp. Leo. All right. So let's check it out. Let's check it out. Oh my gosh, Barb, you're amazing. And you know what I love about Barb? She's just direct. I mean, this is with us air signs. We tell directly each other to F off if you have to, and like that saves them so much time, right? It's just like you're bruised for a very short period of time, but then, oh, well, that was not said to me because of meanness. It was just said to me kind of like, hey, let's continue with this direction. Well, look at that, Leo. You have the 6 of Cups, and it's crossed with 9 of Swords, and then with 7 of Swords, not the greatest. And then we have the Fool. So something has started recently for you. It's a new cycle. You're a little bit upset about this new cycle, and this is like your Mercury retrograde card here that we have. So we have Ace of Pentacles. It could be a new financial cycle that you're kind of like starting, resetting the system in June. Oh, this is 10 of Cups. This is really, oh, and this is also good. This is Karma card. You kind of like are clearing some karma really early in this month. I would say in the first 7 days. You're not going to be really happy campers first 7 days of June. I really have to tell you. But oh my God, things are really starting to look up, because this really talks about you cleared a big hurdle. I mean, this kind of like upsets, and how to go and what to do is kind of like getting better. You're a little bit afraid of things repeating. That's why you have the Three of Cups over here. And the last one is the High Priestess. And there is this intuitive part. Bottom of the deck is Four of Pentacles. So let me see. Do we have a dominance of anything? I really don't. Like, we have the two twos kind of like mirroring each other. And did we have two threes? No. Like, it's one. Yeah, we do have two threes. So nothing is really predominant, I would say, over here. So with this, I have to go with these three major arcanas. If you kind of like see, they are almost creating, they are creating a triangle, a completely even-sided triangle over here, which means that you need to start taking into account the other people and their attitude. You're going to have a big help from your family, from emotional core that you have built. So that can be your blood family, it can be your friend family, kind of like you will really draw power from that. I have to tell you, and I'm going to repeat actually probably the first 9 days, because this is 9 over here, so it can extend up to the 9th. So Mercury retrograde might bring either old emotions, because this is Six of Cups after all, right? It's kind of like memories from the past. And some of you are going to feel that you need to kind of like cry. And it's going to be good, because it's going to get these toxins out of your body, right? This is kind of like about feeling betrayed. And it's kind of like, I don't know why, but it went through my head. Like, why did the life handed it to me? Why do I have this cross to bear? And why am I kind of like given these kind of like cards? But not understanding that something that you have been doing, something that you have been saddled with by universe, by God, by destiny, is actually just about to open the doors for you. But this is really interesting for me, where we go from the Fool, which is a 0. So it's the beginning and the end, right? And then we're going to High Priestess. So he's jumping through this Magician. So it's almost like, look, I already know the ropes. I don't really need to learn it. Let's go right immediately into that intuitive. You're feeling very intuitive. You really know what is the right thing to say, what is the right thing to do. And this is really telling me that in spite of the appearances, that's kind of like what kind of like we've seen already, that you are actually coming to the next level. I don't know if you can see this card. Look at that. There is like this kind of like new formation. Something is really new happening. This is almost like a reward from God, from everything, saying, look, you have been going through this hardship for a reason, because now you have basically learned a lesson that is going to be so. In your case, I have to say this lesson could be connecting to, again, this triangle and this third party kind of like thing, because this is what is showing up. There's like somebody maybe contacting you from abroad. This is kind of like what this card also could mean, or somebody's coming from a long distance travel, or there's like some kind of communication. After all, it's kind of like wands. And that, in fact, doesn't really enthuse you, because usually, like, let's say you need to take a test, right? It's the final test. Like, they ask you these basic questions just to see if you can pass. You are passing this test, and you're passing this test solely on how do I feel about that? And is this right? And when you ask yourself this question, it's going to be, what would my higher self do in this situation? It's kind of like, oh my God, I really want to jump his bones, kind of a thing. But then your higher self goes, yeah, and how would you feel afterwards? Would you feel that you gained something, or would you feel that you have lost the part of yourself? And it's going to be this self-love and something that you really worked on that is going to prevail for you. And that's why you have like the Ace of Pentacles. There's like a new path going forward. This is why you have Judgment, meaning like you're released from the old burdens. And this is why you have the Fool, because you have already started a new process without you fully firming up and realizing this. And now you're actually really moving into the next stage. Because you have these like two as major arcanas, it's telling me this is still getting under the surface. It's still brewing under the surface, meaning most likely the next month you're going to have like the full kind of like attitude, which kind of makes sense because it's your birthday starting for early Leos toward the end of July. So this is meaning to me that you guys are going to really, really celebrate. I don't know if I need to, I just want to check this like 2 swords and see. And also you have a young woman, so either like you feel betrayed by a young woman or somebody's immaturity or even your own immaturity that now you're paying the kind of like, and this is maybe what it was, that it was some kind of immaturity, maybe even on your part, that now it's being released. You finally kind of like balanced out some nonsense from your past and things are actually really, really moving forward. So Leos, just rest assured that in spite of also how you might feel the first 9 days, 7 days, 9 days in June, that you actually are progressing. You're actually moving forward. And it's good advice also to keep a little bit diligent, to keep to yourself, kind of like don't reveal all your cards to the others and don't spend without having ability to repay it, and that is going to be very important. Good morning, Della. Nice to hear you. Nice to see from you. So let's see who is next. Who is next? Before I open it, let me have a sip of my tea. Gemini, we already had you guys. Happy birthday again. I know, like this way we see everybody. Oh, then we have Aquarius. Oh my gosh, look at this. All the air signs are already out, so that must be a reason for that. Usually Aquarius always gets somehow last. So let's see Aquarius. Aquarius. And just make sure that I'm recording this because oh my gosh, what a disaster it would be if the monthlies are not showing. Would not make me a happy camper. Still showing as recording. Aquarius rising at 27 degrees, so which means that you are just on a 28 degree, you will be already cuspy kind of a thing. So you're almost like me needing yoga. This is probably where you and I connect because I have a late Aquarius 15th of February, right? And I think it's 26 degrees, which is not necessarily cusp, but I feel lots of Pisces emotions and I don't come across as very cold as Aquarius. I can be very cold when people piss me off, but I'm generally not very cold 99% of the cases. So Aquarius. Oh, nothing is coming in. Okay, Aquarius, nothing. Oh, well, that's interesting. So let's see. We have the Fool. It's the new beginning. Then we have Knight of Cups, and we are feeling very good about it. 9 of Cups. Jesus. I mean, I just don't want to say nice things because I'm expecting something crappy is going to come up. So let me just put all the cards down. We have a 6 of Pentacles. We have the Sun. Then we have Queen of Swords reversed. This is us on a bad day when we are really kind of like pissing people off. Then we have like a 10 of Pentacles, which means we feel connected with the family. We feel fulfilled. Very important, right? Then we have a 10 of Swords. We have 7 of Cups. And what am I talking about? We have Chariot. How did I make it into 7 of Cups? Come on, Freud. Why did I have this slip? So it is also emotional. This is kind of moving forward. So since I said 7 of Cups, it really talks about ideas and concepts and those wishes placed to the universe. And then we have a 7 of Pentacles. On the bottom, we have King of Cups. Whew, now I can breathe properly. Now I can tell you what I really, really think, right? So 10 and 10 and 19, which is also 1 and 9, is 10, right? And all of these 10s contain, they have 1 and they have 0. 1 is like new line, new beginning, new process, turning a new leaf. And 0 is just like what we have with the Fool over here, is the circular nature of karma, where we are repeating the karma, but each and every stage, like in a Groundhog Day. If you guys didn't watch this movie, it's one of the best movies ever made, and I frequently watch it, and I never have enough of that. And it is kind of like showing that we can actually really affect our destiny, and sort of like maybe we romanticize and a good things takes it forward, which I kind of like see that here, because King of Cups, after all, showing through, it means it really means that we need to release some negativity, and that's kind of like what the Queen of Swords shows. But by doing that, we are kind of like setting the process in motion in something new. So very much like what we saw for what was like that we just like did for Leo, that there's like something brewing over here, right? Like this 9 and 10. So something coming to the end, but it's also a new beginning. It's a new cycle. The only kind of like fly in the ointment is like this Queen of Swords, which I think it is us that we are going to get majorly freaking pissed off. And I would say this is going to be between the 10th and the 15th in the month. It's going to be in that week that we are going to feel some kind of like anger or something. But because of this anger, it's like, somebody fires you. Like, so this is what happened to me. I worked in a bank and I was like, marketing manager. And then I took this whole department from making $100 million in mortgages to $500 million in less than 12 months. So my reward, I get laid off. The entire department gets laid off because, well, why would they need us if now this is kind of like flowing? So it's kind of like F you for a great job kind of a thing, right? So, and what basically is this initial anger is like, is it going to take you negatively down, or you're going to kind of roll up your sleeves as I did? And I said, you know what? I also kind of like have this counseling degree. Let's kind of like use it and dust it off and see what we can do. And that's why I started this channel. So you kind of like, it's sometimes very positive that things really happen to you because they put you back on a track where you really need to be. Look at this, like I'm connecting to people in Australia, in the US, like all over the world. And like, every single one of you is like such a fantastic soul. Like we are like kind of like having this soul connection. That would not happen if I was sitting in my cubicle doing my freaking branding and analysis of social media and the nonsense that you usually do in my job, right? No matter how much I loved it, it's just like marketing can be deceptive. I never chose the job to be deceptive, but it kind of like is something that can benefit very much. So here I guys see something like that we are going to have a new look, new polish. It's kind of weird. I tell you, do not get the makeover during Mercury retrograde, but I really think that's what the Aquarians will do. I think it's going to be new makeover. You're going to demand on some kind of like, I guess, justice, and if justice is not given, it's going to be a little bit freak out of a sort. And when we freak out, somebody else is going to be revealed. Somebody else is going to be shown for who they are. And who they are backstabbers. Who they are deserve what is coming to them. Kind of like, of course, I'm reading Aquarius for Aquarius. And it's kind of like really interesting. We are not getting really help from the others. I really think this Knight of Cups is just kind of like thrown in the mix for the extra kind of like fun. Maybe this is even saying about possible new relationship that is starting, but I don't know if this is going to really last, because we initially like people kind of like writing poems to us, but more than twice is like, oh my gosh, are we in the 18th century? Come on, let's kind of like talk about science, let's talk about something else. A mismatch. I've been saying like beautiful person over here, but we are not going to be that beautiful in the company of this person. But this also could mean this person is going to be a high quality person, kind of like understanding our true needs, and that's why this person maybe ends up being King of Cups, being the right one, being that soft place to fall, being the person who can foster a growth, because we also have 2 sevens, and 2 sevens are always about planning, about goals, about moving forward. But I really have to tell you, accept this card, which really talks about that we are going to have this home fires going, and it's going to be really important that we connect there. At the same time, we are going to be doing lots of things that are solo. It's going to be maybe attention to the kids, especially if you have a male child, or it's going to be attention to the projects that are still needing to grow and need to kind of like come to fruition. So let's check this Queen of Swords over here. What's going on here? No. Just making sure everything is really working out over here. Queen of Swords. And we have constancy, and that's it. We are shooting ourselves in the foot. You know that you watch this guy, Monty Python? What was this like? What was this movie called when he's just this knight is shooting himself all over the place? It's kind of like dismembering something here. It's like when I was doing my shamanic course, in which I of course stopped 3/4 of the way. I had to do this big exercise with dismembering yourself and pulling yourself together, and that simply meant, oh, look at this, now I'm seeing YouTube errors, not receiving enough video, hopefully it's going to resolve. And that simply kind of like meant that you need to release the ego, and you need to kind of like restart fresh. So it's like my little Fitbit. Every so often it starts to go haywire, then I just simply reset it to the original hardware, and things are actually working out. And this one is melancholy reversed. Maybe we had people or circumstances in our life that kind of like took us apart, and maybe we are realizing that because of that we really didn't build life that we kind of like wanted, right? Maybe it was dissatisfaction, maybe it was some kind of like lack of commitment over here. I mean, could be like some kind of like infidelity. But clearly, like there was like some kind of lack of dedication. Maybe we didn't feel enough that we really want to build something, right? So this is going to be almost like, sounds to me we are getting rid of something that just doesn't work for us anymore. So be it like I'm in love or friendship, it kind of like clearly was fragile, and kind of like if you're not getting rid of anybody in your life, then I would say with some people, and you know who they are, you need to proceed with caution. Very, very important. Okay, so how many did we did it 5, right? Okay, one more, and then we have a small break. One more, and then we'll have the doors. All right, so let's see who is before the intermission over here. Okay, the stream is back to excellent. Excellent, Mr. Burns. We have Cancer. We did you, Cancer. Thanks for showing up. And let's go at another one. Taurus. Okay, Taurus, you're not waiting to be the last one. So you went through your birthday. Usually the month after your birthday you feel a little bit down, right? So kind of like that's always the case. So Taurus, let's start. Nobody's talking. Come on, guys. Who are the Tauruses around here? Ooh, you also have the Fool. Like Aquarius had the Fool. So when fixed signs are starting with the Fool, and now we have a 2 out of 4 fixed signs starting with the Fool, that means that everything, the entire zodiac wheel is shifting. So you guys also kind of have to pay attention to that. It's 4 of Swords reversed. There's like some kind of exhaustion, which I just said, usually after your month after your kind of like birthday, you kind of like feel a bit exhausted. There's Ace of Cups. My banker is Taurus. I just like was so happy when I realized that she's going to be really well meant for it. There's like 2 of Cups over here. There's the Ace of Cups. There's some kind of love affair that is either brewing already, or somebody's eyeing you, or you're going to be extraordinary lucky in that respect. So this is going to be, I love this card. Look at that. Look at this kind of like amazing attitude over here. And we have Temperance reversed. This is very unusual for you guys because this shows impatience to me. You are the most patient sign of all. So let's see, why is this over here? And there's like a 5 of Swords. It's interesting, there's like 4 of 5. And then we have the 4 of Pentacles over here. Then we have the Empress over here, which kind of has this Venus in here, which means kind of like finer things in life and maybe dealing with the kids, but it's in your hopes and fears. Interesting, because when the Empress shows together with the High Priestess, which is the last card here, it can talk about secrets and secrets in the family. And then you have a Karma card here, which is the Wheel. So summary is, this is going to be a lucky month, but it's going to be a month where it's going to be lots of wheeling and dealings. You have like 2 4s over here, right? So you have a 3 4 5 6, right? So this is kind of like majority of the reading, which means there is like some kind of like new cycle here. Clearly it's some kind of like progress that you are making, but this is a really, really big card. It is coming almost like in the center of it. It's kind of like mirroring this like 2 of Cups. So it could be somebody who really cares for you, that, or vice versa, right? That somebody's caring for somebody and the other person wants nothing to do about it, not to hear anything about it, because this is falling in your own house. And this is generally Pyrrhic victory card, kind of like you envision something and you want it for yourself and you really don't care who you step on. It's not almost like that you go out of your way to step on somebody, you just do, right? And as a result, other people feel they're not opening their arms toward you, they're like not doing things, right? Because this is like also a card of self-preservation, kind of like, hey, you know, now I need to take a breather, I need to take a rest. But then you're doing something recklessly, and this reckless kind of like part is maybe not going to cost you this month. I don't think it's going to cost you this month, but it will cost you, right? I think this is like what the Aquarians had it as well, because this always kind of talks about winning when you don't have win-win situation, where you have win lose-lose situation. So you have to always be on the lookout for these people who have lost, because they remember and they will come to you at the opportunity they will have. So this is something really kind of like to take away from there. But this month altogether, you're going to be very lucky. You have like this, the wheel over here. So it's like, look at this, 1 2 3 4 5 majors, which means it's going to be a massively important month in retrospect when you look at it. It's going to be how you deal with people. So this is telling you need to have a give and take. If somebody has been giving to you, now you have to give back. If somebody has been taken away from you, now I have to give you back stuff. So it's really interesting that you have the Temperance reverse, because it tells me that something cannot be made, something cannot be done, things are not gelling, something needs to be repaired. And this kitty is looking over here. Maybe you are looking for somebody to repair a certain situation, right? Maybe you are the one who need to repair it, because people around you are really feeling guarded over here, right? Really, this is like he has the toys in this box and he's sitting on it, not sharing with anybody. So there's like somebody who created some kind of like line in the sand. You kind of like want a little bit kind of like life bigger comforts over here. The Empress is showing about that. That's kind of like result over here. So the Empress is like always about nurturing. It could be about children, and that's why it's connecting with the High Priestess. It could be something that is happening behind the scene. Maybe you're kind of cooking something behind the scene, or maybe somebody else is cooking something behind the scene. So let me see, because these 3 cards are majors and they're clustering there for some reason. So what we have here, look, we have the Enemy, and then you have Money reversed, and then you have a Friend. And again, it's as confusing as this can appear, because Enemy is clearly, look, he's kind of like hiding behind a tree. and it is somebody who you don't know, right? We also have a foe in this deck, and foe is somebody you know, but this is like somebody who you don't anticipate, right? And or maybe you're anticipating enemy, you're anticipating certain things coming to you that are related with money, because the Empress has a money component as well. And maybe your enemy becomes a friend, maybe your friend becomes an enemy. This is kind of like very confusing, and that's why the High Priestess is over here, where you will really need to deal with the situation by being intuitive, by kind of like following what your gut feeling is telling you, right? Let me see this like Five of Swords over here, and this is you. This is really telling you you're going to be out of your element. You're going to feel kind of like the whole world is upside down. So something will be happening this month that is going to put many things under a big question mark. And then we have the Four of Pentacles over here. Somebody is really observing this entire situation, and they're really sad. This is like a sorrow over here. It is kind of like entering over here. And this is kind of like really interesting. That's what I said. Somebody is self-protecting, right, about that. So you have to watch your own actions, because as it's showing with this karmic wheel of fortune, even though right now you're on the top, this wheel continuously circulates and certain things can happen, because this is emotional nature and can talk about sort of like somebody is seeing you as a sky is falling, kind of like it can suggest misfortune, when kind of like it's not for you, it's for somebody else. Somebody else is kind of like feeling this way, right? And it can actually talk about the significant changes, just like over here, right? As we can see, these two kitties are walking away defeated and probably wounded, and maybe they're just going to simply die. Maybe you felt you have inflicted severe wounds on your opponent, or wherever you kind of like wanting to establish. And unfortunately, you feel very righteous about that, but the other person is feeling very sad about it. So that tells me there's like some issue with communication, I would say. And this is also the card that suggests that better communication should happen, that things, maybe this is what the Temperance really means, that decision was made in a hurry and it hasn't been properly looked from all the angles, and it's really advising you kind of like pay attention to it and kind of like deal with this. So keep this in mind. So there we go, Barbie, the master moderator. She is telling that we are going to the door segments. So let me just shuffle this, and I'm going to shuffle this. I'm going to put a little bit of crystal on it to clear a little bit in the segment. There we go, and here, and here is the deck for us. And let me just cover this so you don't see what's happening. Oh, no, let me just put the timestamp first. And it's like 107. I'm a little bit behind. And okay, here we go. Where is the? There it is. Let's go, guys. Think of the question that you want, and of course, guys, feel free to contact me for a reading. It's actually a little bit lighter schedule that I have, so which means I can do things faster. And I think I'll be changing my things, but I'm still not doing this during Mercury retrograde. It's good to kind of like think through it, so just keep this in mind. So let's do this. I have the door number 1. This is door number 2, pardon me, and this is door number 3. Okay, let me remove this veil and go back to you and have a little sip of a coffee. You know, I notice like when I click here, that I'm checking viewers activity, it always shows me, oh, you know, it's not streaming properly. Now when I'm just clicking on stream health, so far it's holding on excellent. Hello, Kathy. Nice to see you. We did Taurus at 58 if you want to check it out. So, door number 1. You guys have a Page of Pentacles and you have a Judgment. So there's like something that is like crawling speed, like slower than slow kind of a thing. Maybe there's like some kind of lack of immaturity or study, but ultimately there's a judgment, and it's basically telling you everything is happening for a reason. It is happening. It's probably going to develop much, much, much slower. And the judgment is sort of like not giving you yes or no. It's telling you it's going to happen what is in your best interest, because whatever happens is going to clear a certain part of your karma. And it's right now in the final stages that's happening over here. The door number 2 is a Page of Swords. Man, it's going to go down from here. This is, I would say, I know, and I would say it's going to be a harsh approach to the situation. So if you can, don't push buttons, don't go in this direction. And the door number 3, we have the Six of Wands, but then you have a King of Pentacles. You're going to get something that you want, but this is literally beware what you wish for, you might get it. Because if your question was, for example, that you get promotion, because the King of Pentacles can talk about a promotion, can talk about, hey, you know, I want to marry somebody, or if somebody proposed to me, well, you know, I get some money, and all of that is yes, 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 but he's coming reversed, meaning it's not as shiny as it looks like. You're going to be learning about the real nature about it, and then you might change your mind. So, but in the short while, you're going to get your wish coming through. And almost like put this in a different deck. Oh, am I getting what I have been asking for? Is that kind of like the question you ask, which door did you pick, Kathy? Would be interesting here to know. All right, let's go. Second part. Oh my gosh, I'm right on time. I just can't believe it. And that's because I started 10 minutes early, I guess. So we have Pisces next. Do we have any sweet Pisces over here, guys? Let's see. All right. Pisces. It's the last card here. And let's do this. Pisces. Ooh, we have the World. That's a karmic card, which means something is already brewing right now in the air. The moment when you're watching this, Pisces, something will be really, really happening in your life. I shouldn't have shuffled more. So then we have the Knight of Pentacles. I think this is a little bit reversed. And then we have the Five of Swords. You see, like we have in lots of signs this Five of Swords. And it's really telling us don't win at any cost. When you win, just make sure that the other parties are not intimidated by you, but rather willing, and that's going to take your karma further. That's why you have the karma card over here. And you have another Five of Wands. That was like some kind of battle of the wills, or establishing boundaries of some sort, right? But maybe somebody just really didn't want to kind of like give in, and you kind of like slam your fist down, and this is really telling you that's kind of going to maybe slow things down. We'll see more. Then we have the Four of Swords. Then we have like Two of Wands. We have Tower reversed. Ouch! And it is in your own house. It's kind of like you are absolutely unaware that the storm is outside. So you still are going la 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 la. Everything is fine. And you open the door, like phew, sweeps you away, right? That's what happens when the tower is reversed. At least when the tower is up, you put your freaking hat and you put your coat and shawl to go in the storm. But here, you are absolutely unprepared. So we'll have to clarify that, my dear Pisces. And this is a Mars environment. You know, lately what I was doing last month, I was checking into astrocartography because I'm moving. And I don't know if you guys ever looked into that. Is this Safi under my feet? Oh my goodness. This side so I cannot stretch my feet. It's kind of really interesting because it did even show that where I live here in Toronto, that I am on a Mars line. And this is reminding me because this is Mars, right? And Mars line is one of the worst lines to live on. It kind of like you attract, sure, ambition and everything. And I guess it's really interesting because also New York is on Mars line. And I think San Francisco has something like that. So Mars lines and Pluto lines are really difficult to live on. Sure, it does give you opportunities, but it also gives you these predatory attitudes. Versus Venus line and Sun line and I guess Jupiter lines are really too good to live on. So like where I plan to move is going to be Sun and Jupiter lines. It's going to switch everything. So that's kind of like things are going to happen. Then you have a Hermit here reversed. Somebody maybe separated themselves from you, and now maybe they're lonely, maybe they miss you, maybe they want to come forward. Then we have a Seven of Swords, and then we have like a Three of Pentacles, guys. So the entire reading is dominated with these three major arcanas, because everything else is like, feels to me like chips are falling down. And look at how the chips are falling down for you. Like, you see this triangle along the swords. There's only three swords over here, and they're forming a triangle over here. Then we have like two fives over here. Then we have like two sevens over here. So that is really nothing really significant in terms of what's going on. It's maybe kind of like middle of the road, two threes as well. So nothing that really kind of like stands out. Oh, what is on the bottom? On the bottom, it does. These threes do stand out. So it's Three of Cups, Three of Pentacles, and this is the three card, the World card. And then kind of like this is where also we have this like triangle, which is also kind of like considered a three as well. But it's kind of like really interesting to me that what forms this triangle with the swords. We have a 4, 5, and 7, right? So 4 is like, it's kind of like you don't want to deal with things. You're really tired. Things are kind of like have been really exhausting coming into this month. You're dealing with lots of people, with lots of different attitudes, trying to juggle things up, right? This is kind of like taking this victory and kind of like, okay, I just want this to be done. And this coming back to you because these people are creating some kind of explosion. Oh my God, like, I mean, literally, you will know who these people are because you kind of like did get ahead, and they are plotting against you, and that's it's showing over here, guys. Is it going to be somebody who you felt? It's kind of like really weird because it's all starting with the World, and the World is the last card, right? So you kind of like now you are going to the steady moment and you're starting this new cycle, right? The World is also about the fixed signs as well, kind of like creating a structure. So you are going to feel that any structure that you have built is completely dismantled. So any kind of like advantages that you have gained the past month are now going to almost like explode in your face, because that's why you're ending up with the Three of Pentacles, which is telling you, okay, put it together. The chips have fallen down now, but now it is the time to put things together, right? Bonjour, Lynn. Comment ça va? So here we have like the Seven of Swords, which always talks about betrayal. And betrayal comes in your house of hopes and fears. So clearly you're not hoping for betrayal. You're hoping for peace, right? You're hoping to kind of move forward, to go in a new direction. But you're forgetting that whether you knew it or you didn't know, that you step on somebody's toes big times. And they're suffering, they're resenting you. They are really kind of like trying to obtain some wisdom in how to basically screw you over, how to kind of like get back to you. And it's almost like whether or not you're going to feel those energies this month, I think you will feel them this month. You're going to feel like, oh my gosh, why do you hate me? What did I do? Like, literally, this is what this card means. So but because of this card, you're not fully, let's say, aware. Like, this is like when we slam a door in somebody's face and break their nose without realizing that somebody was behind us, right? And we are still responsible, even though it was like not something that we really wanted to do. But here somebody's making a case, oh no, you wanted to do this because we have been talking about it, and you just like went on and take your own style and ran with it. And it doesn't mean it's fair. It doesn't mean that you did something that this person kind of like ideas were right or wrong, but this is just simply kind of like human nature, right? When you, for example, start working in a new company, you maybe don't want to really socialize with the people, but if you don't, you're going to be kind of like chastised, and so you kind of like have to exercise this lay of the land kind of a thing, and that's something that went wrong over here. So let me check this Tower over here, my dear Pisces. Ooh, it's the Prison reversed. Let me just check the Hermit reversed. Hermit reversed is conversation, and that's kind of like what is going to be very important. It's a Mercury retrograde, and whereas for you Mercury retrograde is going to work directly a little bit differently, because we didn't have a sixes coming through. But for you, Mercury retrograde is going to be like the positive part of Mercury retrograde, where dealing with the things from the past is very positive. So anything that you didn't bury the hatchet, where you didn't address things the way you should, now it is time to do that. Let me see the Seven of Swords over there. It is service and frivolity. So maybe it was something that was very insignificant for you, but to somebody else made a world of difference. And that's why you're getting this kind of like, this whole kind of like quote unquote, let's call it betrayal, right? Is kind of like happening over here, because this is really meaning that signaling kind of like it's the end of this carefree time. You really need to roll up your sleeves, and it's kind of like suggests some kind of like some past painful event for somebody, and they're really asking you to kind of like stand up and be counted and to kind of like be responsible for something, right? So it's kind of like maybe they feel that you have failed to maintain some commitments, or there was some kind of infidelity or disloyalty. Whatever it is asking for a conversation, because there's like some level of isolation, and maybe it could be you and it could be them. It's also interesting that you have prison over here, which is good when it's reversed, right? Because this means, in spite of you walking in that storm that I told you, right, this card is telling me that punishment has ended, right? So look at it on a positive thing. You are walking out in the storm, but you're walking out from the jail. So in fact, the storm is still better, right? It still can actually designate a negative situation, but there is like some kind of like a time where you're released from, let's say, something confining, some circumstances, some situation. So this could be prejudice, this could be negative thoughts or regrets. Again, the shame, or maybe some kind of like remorse. There are some kind of like possible restraints that are going to be lifted. And so basically this is opening you up to some maybe new cycle, on a new communication, and a new kind of like immersement into some kind of like a new process. So Pisces, it's going to be tense, but the good news is that you are actually pushing in a new direction. And this is allowing you, because you're the 12th sign. As a 12th sign, you are supposed to be transition to, let's say, heaven, whatever it is, the new energy kind of like system. And how can you be the person who transitions us if you do not understand all of these little finesses? And that's what you're learning this month. Hi, Sappy girl. You want to go and sleepy? You want to go and sleepy? Man, Tiger is not allowing me to play with Safi when I have the bird, the thing on a string, kind of like raging. He wants to chase it. It's just like Tiger is such a jealous dog, but he's also extremely affectionate now. And everybody's like noticing this about him now, him being an adult. Except he kind of like slowed down quite a bit, and I don't know if that's normal for just 2.5 years old. All right, next is here. I'm just checking if I put all this there. Next is Capricorn. So we have a Chris over here. Ooh, it's 11:11. It's 12:12 here for me, Barbie. This is also a very important number as well. It's a cyclical number. So, Capricorn, let's put your timestamp. And I hope it's going to upload today without me needing to upload separately, but at least I'll have a backup if things go wrong, as I did several times. So, Capricorn. All right. We have the Hermit. So this is about wisdom. It's about going your own way. It's generally a solo card where we really have to find our own truths, right? Like, look at the star is in the middle over here. And that's why, even though this generally suggests Virgo, I always see this as Aquarius as well, where kind of like it's hard to be alone. It's hard to kind of pave this path. Did you ever try to walk through the forest where you don't walk on the path? You're scratched all over the place. It's not a fun experience. But this is kind of like learning experience as well, kind of like learning how to navigate things. Then we have the moon reversed, which is also 9. So we have 2 9s. You're kind of like coming to finalization, a realization of something. And then you have the Eight of, that's your delay of Mercury retrograde, Eight of Wands. These are love messages, but something is delayed. It's another 9, so clearly we have the partner emerging. 9 of Wands. We have the Three of Pentacles. We have Six of Cups. This is also Mercury retrograde. Somebody from the past, something reappearing. We have Ace of Pentacles in your own house. Yay. It's great. It's a pentacle. It's for an earth sign that you are. Woo! It's a karma card, the World. It's somebody in your life, and usually this shows up when we play a role for somebody. So we all kind of like write a chart. Like, I mean, if you guys didn't get my karma reading, I highly suggest, because we write this chart and we tell this is what they want. It's like Total Recall movie where he programmed, oh, I want this and I want this athletic female and I want to be on a Mars kind of a thing, right? So we do that when we are living this 3D experience, right? Because on the other side, we have like everything is nice and clouds and pink and whatever, right? But here we have like hardship and everything, and that's kind of like experience. We really want to do it, but we also want to experience love. So when this shows up in this environment, in this particular position, it means that somebody else wrote us in their chart, and then we played a role for them to be able to take them to the next level. Then we have like Two of Wands, and we have the Hangman, and the bottom is Five of Swords, which is appearing in so many, what is it, about 4 so far out of 7, so which is a lot. All right. So as I said, 9 is very dominant in your reading, which means, and this is also kind of like finality as well. So there is like something coming to an end. You're going to feel that you need to do closure on so many different levels, right? Interestingly enough, like, I mean, the closure is connected to some kind of beginning. So even though you're closing, so it's almost like moving, right? You're kind of like packing the stuff, so it's a closure, but you're also looking forward to the next stage and what you're doing, because here the kitty is looking out and looking, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to, let's quote unquote struggle, but this is never a card about struggle. This is the card of opportunity. The same thing here, looking at the new horizon, and what can I kind of like take it with me? What are the old lessons I can take with me, and what kind of like new experiences I really want to explore, right? It tells me here that there is a little bit of hesitation in this, because there have been situations for you that have been tricky, that you're kind of like feeling alert as a result, or even feeling wounded, or wondering if you want to do this next step, right? The Nine of Wands is always about making this next step, kind of like, but it's also a decision, okay, you know what, I'll do it. I'll do it no matter what. When Moon comes reversed, it's a good thing. And the reason why it's a good thing is like, it's not all illusion, right? Because here it is like you're kind of like contemplating on your own how to do things and what is the best for you and what is the best universal. It's not only just a selfish kind of like a thing. Where here, this is almost like the same vibration, but much higher level, right? You're having a bigger perspective. So now you're not wasting your time barking at something. And this would be also, let's say, romantic. This is Romeo and Juliet card, if you really think about it, right? Everything is nice and romantic, but it's also undoable, right? Because of imperfect society and surroundings. But this reversed, which means there is like a dose of reality, there is a dose of how to make it go, there is like some contemplation, there is like some pragmaticism in the situation. So you are going to be applying lots of skills this month, from your ability to know how to plan, from your ability how to kind of like have the teamwork. Maybe to some extent you're going to have to step on other people's toes. Beware of that. This is like what I warn everybody. But you are all in all deciding to move forward. Maybe you're going to get some delay reaction, because this is what it means. These are love messages. And you also have moons showing up twice, and it's a full moon showing up. So I don't know, anybody can check when is the full moon. We just had a full moon, so I would say in 29 days. So it's going to be the end of June. So that's something where you're going to feel some kind of culmination of some kind of like sorts, right? The Hangman is also telling you that you cannot go fully on logic this month. You need to kind of like start understanding somebody, and that really talks about vulnerability and connecting with somebody and being able to talk about the issues that you have, and somebody else being able to open up in order for this to kind of like make it the real thing. Because there's like somebody who clearly is going to be stepping into the next stage of their life, and you are going to kind of foster that like through emotional push, and maybe even by withdrawing yourself a little bit from them, for them to kind of like not depend on you to make decision, but to do it on their own. And so now these two trees that are here on the top, crowning the top, are really talking about that the key for this month would be to kind of like keep the course. There's like somebody from the past showing up, you're reconsidering that situation and the position. But ultimately, as it is, shows the hanged man or the hanged cat, it really shows that, look, things are going to fall apart. Things are not going to be perfect. You're going to kind of like have maybe a sobering effect on some situation or some person. It's more or less is going to be the experience month more than a person, but as a result of that, your perspective is going to get broader and change, and you're going to get more open-minded and more understanding of the entire situation. So as long as you do not force somebody, shove down their throat how you want things to do, things are going to actually do and go really well for you this month. So what I need to check over here is, actually this was reversed, I think this way. I really want to see this hangman and this five of swords here. The hangman is service. That's right. Be of service. Kind of like, I'm not saying put yourself down, but just try to, did you guys see the Peaceful Warrior? If you haven't, really, this is another my top 10 movies. Nick Nolte in the role, he's just talking about the power of service. It doesn't matter what you do, just drop all of these kind of concepts, how important or self-important you need to be. Ultimately, service to everybody is important, and there is nothing greater than that. And I think you're going to be learning this lesson this month. And then the Five of Swords over here is melancholy. Almost looks like you're going to react out of some kind of like knee-jerk reaction, that somebody's going to trigger you. You're going to maybe say something you don't really want to say, or it came kind of like you blurt things out and you might hurt somebody. So be careful, because sometimes we create wounds that are really hard to heal later, and then you have to make 10 steps to kind of like move forward again. So that's all I would say. But overall, you are actually catalyst for somebody else's success this month, and it's going to be very important. And this one wants to come next, so I'm going to leave this out. You're going to Sagittarius, and that's going to be 31, 40. All right, Saggies, let's take your card here. Nobody is talking here at all, so for 10 minutes. I don't know if this means that you just don't care about me or what, but here you guys have the sun reversed in the middle. Maybe I should have stopped. Okay, let's do this. Because I'm saying to myself, like, I guess guides, or spirit guides, or energies telling me to stop once when the card jumps. That's crossed with the Tower. So you're going to be the next one with the Tower in your chart. Oof. Three of Swords, pardon me, and then Three of Cups, and Four of Cups, King of Cups, then the Six of Wands, Eight of Cups. That would be you, Knight of Wands. You want to be yourself, you want to feel the energy, and then you have a Queen of Wands. On the bottom over here, we have Judgment, so it's something karmic happening. Man, this is actually very complex reading. So again, we don't have predominance of any kind of like a digit over here, but clearly, I mean, they're like two extremely, I guess, painful cards that are really showing up in your heart. Maybe you're holding on to something a grudge or pain, betrayal that is really, really happening. And from time to time, it may be just to take a rest from it, and then it comes and resurface because it's really never properly cleared. And I think this is what you're clearing this month. Oh, look at this, not one, but two, but freaking three majors that you have on the bottom. You have the Judgment, you have the High Priestess, and the Moon. All of three are really emotional ones. So it's going to be getting rid of, and maybe you're not even understanding this, and maybe you, because you're Sagittarius, you're kind of like very high energy and moving, you're not even understanding that you are kind of like anchored down with something that is still holding you, kind of like, let's say, captive. This could have been about a past relationship, or it could be about some kind of betrayal where somebody really kind of like pry your heart out, and where they quote unquote day one, right? And it was not only the ego thing, but it was just the whole fallout thing, where I think it kind of like really, prior to that, created a big happiness for you. It can be connected to children as well, and that's why you have the Sun reversed, or could be even connected to marriage. And the Tower is telling me that the energy that is coming through this month is going to be so turbulent, and turbulence doesn't really phase you very much because you're Sagittarius. It would be different if when I see this, for example, for Pisces, it's kind of like the end of the world kind of a thing, the sky is falling. But for you is, it's kind of like a clearance. It's kind of like the storm that has to come through, and it's bringing the necessary nourishment to the land, kind of a thing. Because you're coming through and coming out of everything victoriously, right? You're having the Six of Wands here showing up, right? So you might, in the very, very beginning of the month, feel a little bit lethargic and tired. And keep in mind that Gemini is the opposite sign of yours. So always during the transition, it's almost like teeter-totter, like it's counterbalance to who we are. And it's normal to feel the tiredness and everything. But it's not going to last entire transition, because you're going to really jump back on your feet rather quickly. Like, also, guys, if you're looking for, let's say, a romance, there's going to be a plentiful of opportunities in that regards. But it might also feel like a little bit of a revolving door. That one person comes in, another one comes out. It's going to be like really high level of energy, kind of like a month. And you are having like this extremely two strong cards, like the Tower and the Judgment over here, which means that something, whenever it shows up, it's kind of like the destiny cannot wait for you to make your own decision. So Tower kind of like knocks on the door and takes everything down and says, okay, now rebuild it again, but make sure it's done properly and correctly, so we don't have to go through that again, kind of a thing. And sure, you take a task kind of like seriously, and you do it really well. You're claiming a big victory in that respect. This also could mean that somebody from the past is re-entering your life. And even though in the past they meant a world to you, now you're just realizing, yeah, I don't know what I saw in this person. You are just like having that sobering experience about this person created so much pain for me, and it's time to let go. And it's just like simply they don't have those strings on you anymore. You are cutting the cord. It's just like it's done. It's over with. And they are getting this. It's just like kind of done forever. It just, you're not going to feel sorrow or anything anymore. In fact, you're going to feel it's time to spring into action. And this simply could mean that there's like possibly a new coupling, a new relationship, and something that is fun. And it's going to be, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this before? Oh my gosh, why did I waste all this time? But this is not why. This is like, you can be with somebody one day and spend 4 years mourning about that, or you can be with somebody 7 years and not to spend a day. So just depending on how karmic and how and what issues you need to really deal on, like with that kind of stuff. So let me check with the Tower for you. What is the Tower over here doing for you? And you have Melody reversed. To me, this is always the card of depression. I also want to see the Eight of, you know what, this is interesting. Whoever is leaving, it's fortune reversed. It's their loss. It's absolutely their loss. They had you by the balls, if you wish, and they don't have you anymore. And this is going to be literally, you dude, you could have had this and instead you just messed everything up, and it's too bad. It's kind of like time to move forward, right? Interestingly, that Malady is showing up together with the Tower, because when this kind of turns around, it's a positive card. Means that depression is lifted, just as I said. You're clearing the freaking slate clean. So this card takes the meaning of healing. It's kind of like suggesting the end of confusion, the end of sickness, if you wish, or any kind of like hindrance that maybe you had in your life. So if this is really talking about let's say relationships, then the two parties have come to their senses, and now there's issues that are resolved, just as I told you, right? So maybe it was an obstacle, maybe it was a misunderstanding, or maybe it was just simply the karmic bond that you kind of like felt, right? And kind of like, if this also can mean literal, that maybe it's the end of some sickness or something, and that sickness simply could be the codependency that kind of like I see in your case. You're back on your feet. That's a Queen of Wands over here. You're feeling ready, and you're putting yourself in action, and it's going to be a really nice thing to watch. But I'm telling you, the beginning of the month, you're releasing some karma, so just make sure you release it. Don't get, frightened by it. Rebuild what needs to be rebuilt. What doesn't need to be rebuilt, bury it. And that's all that takes this entire month. So hopefully this was helpful, Kylie. You're Saggy over here. And I know, what's her name? Sally's hubby is Saggy, but I don't think she is here. All right. Now, this one wanted to come out. So this is Aries. So we are going to do you people next. Okay, so let's see. Aries is next. Yeah, Aries. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm actually not doing badly with time. Okay, Aries, we have 9 of Pentacles. Then we have 8 of Pentacles. It's about some building or rebuilding things and putting final touches for you. 7 of Pentacles. Oh my goodness. Oh, the Chariot. Is it something that you guys started to work on? There is some kind of process that you're putting in place. Maybe it's already kind of like going. There is something that you have kind of like drafted, and you're moving towards something, I believe. 4 of Cups. This is kind of like fly in the ointment. Oh, you have Judgment also. That's also coming frequently in June's readings. 9 of Pentacles. Look at this Pentacles, blah, 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 Pentacles everywhere, right? And it's almost like you're rebuilding yourself financially, or you're setting new financial goals. This actually can talk about real estate, right? Because you're talking about Pentacles, could talk about a job, could talk about promotion, because Mercury retrograde is also good for things that are overdue. So you kind of like need to move forward. Then we have like these 2 4s. They're not necessarily mirroring each other, but that's some kind of level of exhaustion. Here is like more or less a boredom. You can see the kitty, it just has one eye lifted. Oh my god, what's out there? Never mind, I'm going back to sleep, kind of. That's what I did last night. I was like I fell asleep on my sofa, and I just felt really good. I watched the Bourne Ultimatum, and I was just like falling asleep. And then all of a sudden, kind of like, I realized that Safi didn't like that I'm sleeping there, because she likes to cuddle in bed, and she doesn't have the extra undercoat. So she always uses my heat, which is making it impossible for me to get restful sleep, because she always goes between my legs, so she has the heat from all the sides. So she came putting the claws in me like, no, you cannot sleep here, let's go to bed. Okay, so there is a 4, so the pattern is here, and 4 is going to be really, so there's 4 of Pentacles, and then we have a King of Swords. So the pattern that is emerging, and you also have slots of 7s, 7, 7, 7. So 4 and 7 all together, like, I mean, you're talking about 11 and 33 patterns, and I think this is really talking about possibly progress, and possibly, and you're kind of addressing everything. Also, the central card is this Judgment, and these are kind of like emotional kind of like goals and emotional releases, which at times is going to get very tiring for you. And this is why you have like these 2 cards that signify rest. But look at this, like 3 4s, all of them are kind of like positioning and reconfiguring themselves. And if you're Aries that is born in April, this is going to be even more so for you, and a little bit less for the Aries is born in March, right? Even though you guys are also going to get affected. So I guess what I see here, and also we have 3 sevens, it's almost like the sevens are here and fours are there, right? It kind of like the counterbalance. The sevens are always about setting goals, and fours are about working on those goals. So it kind of like does make sense, because it also tells me that something has been happening already, that you're already putting things in motion. And in this month, you're not like one of those I guess, signs that are going to wait for 6 months before you see the first fruits. You want to see this right away, and you're kind of like watching it over here. So it's kind of like really important, right? That you're kind of like really looking at that. So it is like something that it's very foundational, that you are kind of like reconfiguring, because I always see this card. For example, you have, let's say, financial portfolio, and let's say you have 10 stocks or 20 stocks, whatever you have, like we call it mutual funds here. And then you go, this is underperforming consistently, and I'm just losing money here all the time. What would happen if I remove this? And I kind of like remove this drain. Instead, I have to look like performing things. So it's kind of reshuffling this portfolio. So you're looking at things that are holding you down and eliminating them in order to kind of like prune things and move things forward. So you're cutting off the dead weight and that thing, which also could mean a spring cleaning or whatever it is. But this is going to be lots of financial, lots of goal setting, lots of orientation toward the future. And part of this doing so, and also you have the Knight of Pentacles, which it's slow progress, but it's kind of representing Capricorn. And this really means that this can be really that you'll have something career-wise that you're eyeing. And this can mean more money, this can mean more promotion. And it's something that may be overdue, kind of like that's what I would say. Judgment card is guaranteeing that something you're clearing out. Maybe this is the last touches of a lesson that you need to learn, and you kind of like need to adhere. And it might be a little bit boring month for you because you're a fighter and you're getting a pentacles. Everything is going to feel slowed down. But this simply could be your Mercury retrograde. For you, it's not going to play games on you. So that's a really good news. But you're going to get tired at times, and you're going to feel that you're severely slowed down. And it's going to make you feel bad, and you're going to also have moments where you're going to question yourself, and if direction you are kind of heading in is the right one, then you're going to start tracing back your steps and just making sure everything is right. It's kind of like dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's kind of a month. But the fact that the King of Swords come as the finale, it means things are really working out in a fair and concise manner, especially if there's some kind of like legal things that could signify the win, that can signify something from the past is finally coming back. Everything is really working out for you, and it's maybe right and prudent to be cautious about how to proceed, because you don't want to make some rock the waves now when something is almost done. So it's really important. So I actually really want to see what is this release happening for you, because to kind of like clarify this cards, but you kind of like taking rest is not that important. They're kind of like minor. So the Judgment is connecting with service, and again it goes back to be of service to the people, kind of like take the ego out, and you're the one of the signs with the biggest ego. So you kind of like, by taking your ego down and grounding yourself, and that's why you have all these pentacles, are literally helping destiny open the cards for you, kind of like are suggesting that you are ready, right? Because this card is about being helpful, it's about being respectful or dutiful, right? So maybe go a little bit out your own way to do that, right? So maybe kind of like you're going to be questioning motives, and maybe your partner is not supportive, and that's why you go from time to time, okay, whatever, kind of a thing. But I think if you accept help and ask for help with some kind of like gratitude, because you are self-sufficient, there is like 9 of Pentacles, you're doing everything yourself, and maybe this is also part of realization that you be interconnect with the others. And then in fact, when you even ask for help, and some people really use that. Psychopaths usually use it. They ask for help simply to kind of bond with you. But you don't ask for help because you're a perfectionist over here. That's what I see over here. Be mindful of motivations of the one serving, right? So just don't do it unreservedly. Just be very kind of careful in how you really do that, right? So it's kind of like making you learn that lesson that helping is okay, but it has to be just and have to kind of like make sense in the situation. So Safi, I will need this table. What do you say? What do you say? Can I reclaim this table now? Huh? Can I? Can I? Oops. Can I? That's how she's not moving. She's like, actually when I'm sleeping, I get so kind of like still that almost like hurts because I don't want to move so she can sleep. And then it gets to the point that I really have to move and stretch circulation and everything. And Madame is still not moving. So I have to kind of like crawl out of bed, and sometimes I find myself sleeping on a little sliver on the edge just not to disturb Madame Safi. And I even bought her a little coat, but it's turned out to be too small. I'll show you that I didn't even know that such this was for a small dog, but it's too small for her, so she can have something warm to sleep in. Okay, so we have Virgo and Scorpio in this pile. Do you want to pick one? You want to pick one? Which one? Which one do you want to pick? Come on, pick one. Pick one. No, here. Which one? Which one? This one or this one? She wants to play with the finger. Okay, I'm going to go for this one. This was like a decisions. Mercury retrograde. So Scorpio is going ahead. Scorpio. And Scorpio. So. Okay. We will need this table. We will need this table. Yes. You're getting really spoiled. She wants me to feed her with milk, not by putting the dish of milk in front of her, but by dipping my finger in it and feeding her drop by drop, which my finger turns like into pruny kind of like thing, because she really wants this connection. I love you. Yes, you're a pretty sassy girl. Yes, Scorpio. Okay, Scorpio. So we are starting with Page of Cups and with the 10 of Wands reversed. I know somebody's banging upstairs. And then I have the 4 Pentacles. We have a 9 of Pentacles. This is also some kind of like self-sufficiency of a sort that is kind of like showing. Then we have a Knight of Cups. So we're going from page to Knight. So there is like some kind of like flowering of the situation. We have a Queen of Wands, 9 of Wands, 6 of Cups. Ooh, there it is. It's again for you, the Judgment, and this is also Pluto. It is like doubly significant for you, but it is in your hopes and fears. You are waiting for something to really percolate. You are watching this water boil, and it's kind of like a time. And then you have the Moon. On the bottom of the deck, we have the 10 of Swords. So there are kind of like feelings that you have to be on guard. Remember how I was telling like about these fixed signs, and the fixed signs have like these attitudes this month that we kind of like need to shift. It was the Fool in the other 2 readings, but here we see and Leo. I'm trying to remember what was in the Leo. Can't think of it now. But here we have like the Judgment that is really dominating your reading. We also have the Moon card. And Moon is upright. It's generally, to me, Moon is always very suspicious, because Moon talks about all kind of emotions, all kinds of insecurities coming through. At the same time, it's balanced with hopefulness and sometimes like too rosy outlook. So if you are, and almost like telling me that maybe you're coming into this reading as being a single person, maybe that you feel betrayed, or you're carrying some kind of like, energy of betrayal from the past. But this is also telling me that because of this betrayal, you have learned that, or maybe kind of like had to step into those big shoes and grow up and kind of like do things yourself, right? Because this is kind of 19, which is also reflecting in this card as well, right? So you have like these 2 9s, right? And you have a 10. So actually, sorry, yeah, 3 9s. Actually, you have a 3 9s, and then you have a 10, which tells me that there is like, I guess, bruises. Then it's really, really hard to move forward, because sometimes we're interpreting, it's almost like PTSD, but not as severe. Things that maybe completely could be innocent as something that was like, pre-planned or vicious, right? It could be just simply benign kind of a thing, right? So there is like some kind of like things that will be happening this month, that people will maybe, the old loves will come into your life. There are going to be some kind of request. You're going to feel guarded toward everybody. It's kind of like, I see this romantic part, I see the sexy part, but you're going to like this part opening up. And as soon as it opens up, you're going to feel, I don't know, they're going to hurt me. I better watch it. I have been in a situation before. Kind of like you're going to have this old programming kind of like pushing buttons in you, right? And Mercury retrograde always comes with the old stuff, right? And that's why you have some old stuff. I think Sagittarians needed to clear their slate, and so do you. This is kind of like showing really, really clearly. There's like something that comes from the past. It could be connecting to some kind of person. Maybe you thought this person was it, or he or she, right? And now it needs to be cleared. And this is in your hopes and fears. You're really hoping that things are going to move forward, but you're also fearing, oh my God, how long is this crap going to last? And you're kind of like making a very pragmatic decision, and that's why we see here this 9 of Wands. And 9 of Wands is kind of like somebody's bruised from the battle, but somebody is saying, okay, I am going to do it one more time, just one more try. So maybe somebody's coming back, you are kind of like welcoming them and saying, this is it. It doesn't work now. I will not talk to you. I will not care about you, but I'm going to do my all for this to work. So it's kind of positive attitude with kind of like reservation. So just keep in mind that you're reaching this kind of like whole sense of completeness and finality, and you're not really necessarily looking and going blindly into all of that. You are kind of aware of what you need, and you are also kind of like not forcing, but you're demanding like that you need certain level of maturity from the other person, that they kind of like need to be equal partner and participate and be called for. I really don't think it's going to be much of the, let's say, discussion about, oh, well, let's do it this way, let's do it that way. You don't have like really swords here. It's more like that you have wands. You have like kind of like the action, things coming forward, but the wands are mixing with actually lots of cups and lots of kind of like water, kind of like lead elements, which really tells me it's going to be sizzling, and you love the sizzle, right? So it's kind of like things that are going to really work out. So let's check a few things over here. I want to see this 10 of Swords, so which is like still something that needs to be released. So let's see what it is. And it is Merchant. It could be that you have been dealing with somebody who is far away from you. It could have been some kind of like long-term relationship, if you wish. It's kind of like really positive when it's upright. It's not so positive when it's reversed, because it can talk about a failure or even business failure, or maybe there was like some investment, whether in a person or in a work. And, as far as kind of like a heart matters, maybe something was in vain. Maybe you really gave your all and it wasn't enough. And this is like one of those situations in life when you go, I really wish I can tell that I can influence this and I can do it, but I just really can't, right? So it was like about some kind of like major setback or disappointment of some sort. And it could be like more or less that the work situation affected your, let's say, love life as well, or also that you're looking at your love life as some kind of like, let's say, refuge in the situation. I forgot to mention this 10 of Wands reversed over here, which means everything is out in the open. You're not hiding anymore. You're not playing a game. Everything has to come on the table and kind of like deal with that. So let me just see also the moon over here. So kind of like which side of the moon we're looking at it. It's wedding reversed. So again, this is pretty much what I told you. Moon is really romanticizing some situation, but it almost looks like it's slipping through your hands. That somebody is looking at a situation from an overly rosy glass perspective versus, okay, you know, this is kind of like a long term. We cannot live in a la la land. It's nice, but we are not 15 anymore, kind of a thing. Because this also could mean that somebody wants to progress, but not in a traditional way. And they're rather kind of like saying, okay, you know, let's try to live together, or try to see how it works. I'm not so sure this is necessarily what you want, but you're actually going to be enjoying this romance, and it's going to have all the elements of being very serious. Or this simply could mean, and let me see this for the judgment, this simply could mean that you are just putting your foot down whatever you want. Yeah, you know what, you're either loyal to me or you're not loyal to me. It reminds me of Tiger. This is it. If somebody walks without a dog, he in his head thinks this is a bad person. How come this person doesn't have a protection? They probably doesn't deserve it, kind of a thing. So I think what you're releasing some kind of feelings of betrayal, of pain, or something that kind of like it doesn't jive with who you really want to be in life and how you really want to progress in life. And hence, you're kind of like really pushing things kind of like forward. Or maybe it is even you who is saying, okay, you know what, I am just able to go knee deep, not entirely, because this at this stage I don't deem as the best investment. And hence, with you kind of like disconnecting from, let's say, this major thing, it's you're kind of actually releasing some energy that is benefiting you in the end. But I really would rather bet that you are going to go with it's either right or it's not right. And if it's not right, you know, it's not that important to me that you're going to have like one of those executive decisions kind of like a month, and it's going to be important. And we are at the last sign, which is Virgo. So my dear knitting yogi was patient waiting for it. So yes, it's some kind of bicycle out there. So here we go, Virgo. And I really thank you guys for the energy that you're giving. So Lynn, you're saying knitting yogi, your daughter is a Taurus too. So you have somebody very kind of like loyal homebody who likes makeup, who likes kind of like show of profession, I guess, etc. So all right, knitting yogi, let's see. And there it is. Virgo is getting 2 of Wands, and they're getting the Hermit, which is your sign. And this one wanted to jump out, which is the King of Cups. It's some kind of like emotional support. Then we have the Ace of Cups. Oh, we have a Page of Cups. We have Strength. We have 5 of Swords, and this was common. It's again telling you don't rush things, don't create situations that are like in some kind of like lacking balance. There is a Chariot. Somebody has some plans with you. Somebody might come up with some kind of proposal. Look at this. You have a 7, 8, and 9, but it's actually going in 9, 8, 7 kind of like direction. We have the Sun. You have ridiculous amount of majors. It's reversed. It's almost better than upright. And then you have 8 of Wands. On the bottom of the deck, you have a Page of Pentacles. So the 2 pages that you have is telling me there's like something either immature or something is just completely new and fresh and brewing. And this is what is kind of like coupled with this like 2 of Wands. It's kind of showing a new direction, something that you love. And this is really interesting. You kind of like have a new vision. And this is really important to you because this is the first one in the suit and this is the last one. So it kind of like you anticipate that this is going to be the new opening and the new kind of like thing over here. So it's going to be very, very important, right, for you. And you really want to feel yourself. You are not debating, you are not discussing, it must be that way. So this means that in the process of kind of going there, you might step on people's toes or maybe simply kind of like redirect somebody who is really, I think there's like somebody really relying toward you. There's like somebody, and this is either a business proposal, or somebody who is single, or somebody who is very, I guess, sexually motivated. But Chariot is usually somebody who is like a hugely goal-oriented person. It's also really, really fast energy, right? And it's really interesting because it's kind of like going down and it's kind of landing on this energy. Maybe you kind of like spend some kind of like time of introspection. This is also meditation. This is also kind of like spirituality, right? But then kind of like realization is there, that kind of like what is needed for you to go in the direction of the commitment, and like two eights residing on top of each other. So you can talk about that you will feel accepted, that you will feel that other people are loving, because this is like expression of love, and kind of like it's kind of going in this direction where here, like, it's kind of really interesting that you're going to feel this new energy that comes through your life that is going to be very positive. You already started with this. There are already plans. Maybe you need somebody in this process to help you with that, or to advise you, or to lend a hand of some sort. So it almost like feels to me that you might be in your own way. And this is usually kind of like feeling that you know best kind of a thing, where in your situation you have like unbelievable help from anybody. You literally go out and you're going to get help. If you need, if you're dealing with children, or if you're dealing with families, this is going to be very positive. This is also positive if you're dealing with single people. It's also positive if you want a commitment, or if you want to be single. It's almost like you can be whatever you want to be this month. It just goes the only direction. Only person that you really need to worry or affect is actually you. So let me clarify, why is this here? This Five of Swords, which is pretty much the flavor of June readings, kind of like be careful, kind of like bring other people in some kind of like collaboration. And maybe you're doing this because you're more experienced and you kind of like know things better, but you have like the people around you who are inexperienced, and that makes sense. But still, I think these people will be somewhere in the future. So instead of them working against you, you want them to work with you or for you, and that's going to be very important. So let me see this Five of Swords. We have the Thief reversed, and we also had this one, Gift reversed. That's right, because the Thief reversed is actually not the, I don't know, is it a bad card? How do I feel it? It's kind of like can be a reversal of the situation. Maybe again this is triggering some old kind of like patterns of a sort, because I really think this also can be a very negative card. And again, it goes back to do not be in your own way, do not win at any cost. Kind of like it's a Mercury retrograde, remember, like with everything that is coming your way that kind of wants to push you forward. I think actually probably what this means, that this card is telling you just rather slow it down until you examine all of the aspects. And this is also what the Hermit card is showing. Just look at things from all the directions and how the other people would feel if the processes are moving forward, right? Because this can really talk about that somebody can say that you are not true, or that there's like some kind of like dishonesty or something, and or that you simply don't trust people enough. And the trust is the key word in this kind of like reading, because this is about a commitment. This is about a commitment. There's like something that is brewing this month that for you is going to culminate somewhere in August, I would say, during Leo transition. It's going to be extremely important to kind of like reach this kind of like fruit stage, right? Kind of like harvest stage. But in the meantime, you really need to look also in your own makeup, if you wish, kind of like what are the parts of you that you need to revisit, that you need to release, and how do you overcome dealing with people who, for example, you don't find are on your level, on par, and how do you actually turn them to be for you versus just simply kind of like rejecting these ideas. So it's going to be really good, because that lesson learned is going to push you forward, and then you're receiving this cooperation. I think it's going to be really lesson that you're going to have without any hesitation. So it's going to be a good month. It's just like this is kind of like a little bit of forewarned is forearmed kind of a thing, right? But other than that, just open yourself to cooperation, but don't go reckless forward. Kind of like, as I said, slow it down. It's a Mercury retrograde. Make sure everybody's taken care of in the situation. So, guys, let me check. I think Kelsey said your reading was super relevant to me. I dreamed of my ex. Wow, this morning I realized that when I woke up, it was 5 years ago today that he suddenly left my life. 3 years later, he came back full of apologies and then abandoned me again. Isn't that the case? Kind of like the dog bites us and we let him back. And if he came back, he'll find a very different woman. Ha ha ha. Exactly. And this is it. Like, I mean, we have real. Oh, geez, I didn't put a Virgo here reading, so I'm just going to guess here. I guess like this. So we are going to, in the second one, pull the card, or pick a card, rather to say. So let's do this, and you guys think of a different question that you have, and I'm going to close this here a little bit. Where is it? Here. And let me shuffle. Okay. 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 All right, I have all of them. Let's remove this, and if you guys pick the door number 1, you have Knight of Rods. This is moving forward. There's satisfaction. It's weird, actually. I asked the question if I'm going to be moving by the end of the year to New Brunswick. This is clearly connected to travel. It's clearly saying this is great. It's Sagittarius, big ideas, big vision. So this is moving it forward. It's still something that is in the process, that still needs to be established, but it is kind of like going forward. So if you pick the door number 2, there is a situation that you have asked that is kind of like feeling a little bit constrained, and maybe you're dealing with extramarital affairs over here, and somebody is either not capable, not willing, or having kind of like a ties. It cannot be easily resolved. But this is reversed, and it's meaning that there is like a light of a day. You're seeing like this light in a tunnel far, far away, but there's like something that's finally opening up. So it's not a big success, but there is a glimpse of hope in the situation for sure. I would say it's not going to happen, but it might be setting the stage for things to happen in the future. And the door number 3 is like a 2 of Wands. So this something is going off. There's like something out of balance. So I would say you need to kind of like really revisit this entire kind of like a thing. And I think you're having somebody who is undermining your efforts. So I would say the third door would be a no, at least for this period of time that we are doing right now. And okay, so now I'm going to go back, and what do I do? Do you guys want me to get a card, or do you guys want me to get an angel card for all of you? What would you prefer? You tell me. What do you think, Safi? What do you want? I'm going to do it for all now because we didn't have that many and you, Kelsey, you keep coming here all the time. I'm going to make you in the mod now. So mods, please, if you have your friends invited for here for the Saturday mornings, that would be awesome. So let's do it. Let me see. Am I getting anybody speak up? 4444. What is 444? Where did you see 4444? Madame? Nobody is engaging with me, so I guess Tara, please, and thanks so much. Okay, so there is somebody who spoke up. All right, so let's do this. First one is going to be Lorna H. Lorna, for this week, you're going to get the Fool. So jump into the new opportunity, just like, take advantage of something and be open to these new experiences. The next one is going to be Madame from Maine, Knitting Yogi. And we have, Three of Swords. You're removing some obstacles or hurdles or it's clearly there is a healing that is really taking place over here. So it is something from the past that still bothers you, and that's going to be really important to pull the sword one by one. It can be painful, but this can also be about the communication. It could be about situation where you felt that you are just the third wheel or something like that, and that you are not valued or contributed, and you're just simply kind of like you need to go through it and to kind of like make sure this is healed. Barbie, you are getting, I got like 4 cards. It was 9 of Cups reversed, but I really want to, okay, 1. So you have the 9 of Wands reversed. There's like something that you are showing completely disinterest. Maybe you feel that you need to move forward, but you don't want to. You just don't want to. You're just kind of like, I'm tired of everything. Just everybody leave me alone. You're just tired of trying. You're feeling a little bit defeated, I would say. But this is also the card that kind of like tells you you need to take a breather. You need to kind of like take a rest and kind of like allow yourself to feel comfortable and feel kind of like alive and free all over again. Okay, so who is next? We have Kylie, welcome Australia. You have Queen of Cups. You might feel really emotional in the upcoming week. It's reversed, right? You might feel there is somebody coming in your life who is overly demanding, or it could be somebody coming on you emotional. So either you will need a soft place to fall or somebody else. This could be just like one of those situations that energy is just like culminating and just like you need to release it. So if you need to cry your eyes out, just do so. It's going to clear the air. It's going to allow you to start all over and kind of like deal with that, right? So then we have Kelsey. Kelsey, you have 7 of Cups. The 7 of Cups is like about wishful thinking. So this is really telling you that maybe your energy is a little bit scattered, that you have to pick 1 or 2 things versus kind of like spreading yourself too thin. Because spreading yourself too thin, it never kind of like ends well. You just really don't feel the sense of accomplishments. It's telling you to kind of like really streamline what you want and kind of like pick, this is number 1, that they want number 2, and don't even worry about the rest. Otherwise you're going to just end up being defocused and being maybe even just end up not getting anything in the end. So that's very important. Then White Devil from Illuminati, I don't think it's here anymore. And then we did this. Then we have Chris. So many just kind of want to slip out, but this one wanted to come out. And we have the Knight of Cups, and this one wanted to come out. And we have the Moon reversed. So they're both very emotional cards. It's about it's kind of really interesting because the Moon reversed is like kind of like you're past the stage of romanticizing something. You're kind of like realizing that romance is important, but there are pragmatic aspect to it that is needed. And maybe you're stepping into this big shoes of being the King of Cups, you know, like being willing to be somebody's soft place to fall, because King of Cups is actually relatively quiet and giving versus very kind of like boisterous, let's say, King of Wands, right? So this is kind of like a good connection for something that is really long term, where, you know, it can be some emotional kind of like step that kind of like is taking. This is also maybe going in the next stage of some kind of commitment as well. Then I have Sally over here. Sally. Oh, this one wanted to come out. And Sally, you have the Moon. And this is like about anticipation of certain things, and maybe even just thinking that things are more or less black and white. And the Moon can also be about the jealousy and about things that are hidden and things that are perceived. And it's just like simply telling you not everything is like the way we see it. That things can really take completely different shape instead. And did I do all? Look at that. I think we have Della and Maciel. I don't know if you're still here, but I'll get a card for you. Della and Maciel. I don't think you're there, but you have Ace of Rods. So this talks about that's something that you were hoped to recoup or recover. It's not going to happen. The Ace of Rods is always talking about the second chances and second starts, but it's telling you that even if it starts, it might kind of like end up in vain, or something might not really work the way that you hoped or anticipated. So that's kind of like almost like telling you just save your energy. Then I have a Kathy Cepas. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing this. I heard just Safi sneezing. Kathy, you have this Five of Swords, right? We had it a lot during the reading today for entire June. And this is coming reversed, which is kind of like good. So you're bearing the hatchet. Maybe you are going to be dealing with people who feel wronged, or maybe you're going to feel, I could have approached the situation different, or simply going to think twice before acting, that you kind of like feel that other people, that you're just not really quick and just tell people off or show them a finger to cut you off on the road. You kind of like take in account that maybe there's something going on, also thinking that they might be just simply crazy, and you don't want to kind of like step into some kind of like poo-poo with a crazy person. So this is kind of like really thinking through your own decisions before you really act, and that is going to be very, very important. So since you ask, am I getting what I've been asking for? It's telling you that it's going to be very important for your own good to kind of like really think through your decisions and everything else. Then we have a Lynn Westbrook, and this one wants to come out. And we're having a Queen of Swords, and then we have the Eight of Cups. So almost like you're making some kind of executive decision. You're really kind of like understanding that certain situation is not healthy for you, and you have to walk away from somebody, and you're maybe just cutting them off or telling a no to somebody. It could be you walking away of some sort, but this is simply in search for something that really works for you, that is really beneficial for you, and that is very important over here. And Kelsey, did I do you? I'm not so sure, because I think I did one Kelsey, but that one was showing as a mod, but this one doesn't. Kelsey, you have a Nine of Cups. There's like something happening for you that took you out of your emotional equilibrium, right? Because this is like being emotionally all good, but look at this, all the cups are kind of leaking out. It's really telling you it's a new start, it's a new refreshment. Don't worry, let the bygones be bygones. You're kind of like, it is time to move forward and kind of like move in a new direction. So don't worry about the water under the bridge. And I think this is it. I don't think that I have forgotten anybody, but if I did, please let me know. I want to know what's going on. I don't even know where I left my phone here. I'm just realizing it's not with me on the table, but hopefully I'll find it. So there you go. You're welcome, Kelsey. So you got extra, so that's okay. Welcome to the mod squad. So guys, we are having it next time. So next time is going to be the 5th of June. Today we are entering Mercury retrograde, so anticipate things. Make sure that you know, like, you have enough air in the tires, you have enough gas in the tank, because things can happen, and you know, when things happen, they generally don't make us really happy during Mercury retrograde. On the other hand, if you have things that you really need to deal with, such as that you need to do some kind of closure of some sort, and you kind of like need to deal with certain things, this is going to be absolutely ideal to deal with, because you know, Mercury retrograde is absolutely well positioned for things kind of like being resolved finally and once for all. So just address all the things that maybe have been left somewhere on the shelf, and it is a time to address them. It's going to be a really, really good time. Okay guys, so until the next time, thank you so much for being here. It was absolutely lovely. Let me find some musica for the end, something really quick. And you know that I love you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next Saturday. Wish you all the best. Thank you all for giving the energy and helping me go through the monthlies. All the best. Is this going to play? It will play. Very, very short one. But guys, have a wonderful weekend, and let's enjoy June all together. Love you all. Oops, putting the wrong one. looking forward to